We now turn to South Korea, a country with a population of close to 50 million people, which developed to one of the world's major economies in the past 50 years. Korea is shifting its SME policies towards competitive and high growth SMEs, and this is what we want to talk about with Mr. Yoo Soo Hong. He is director of the Institute for Global Innovation Economy and invited professor at Korea University in Seoul. It's morning here, so evening in Korea. Good evening to you, good afternoon.
Good morning.
So let's begin with the first question. So what is the traditional perception of SMEs and policies in support of SMEs in Korea?
The genuine economic development in Korea started in the 60s and the 70s. At that time, the major players in the Korean economy, particularly in the business sector, were larger firms, so-called chaebols, because they were dominating the industries and the economy. SME's role was at that time rather passive, and because the larger firms were so strong, whereas smaller firms were weak. In general, the public and government perception of the role or status of SMEs at that time was treating or regarding them as the weak players in the economy. And also at that time, the Korean economy was just started in the stage of just started economic development. Every sector was very weak, and the government wanted to support, promote the industries and the firms. So regarding SMEs, the weak players, the government tried to protect them and support them tremendously. So that was the basic perception of SMEs and the line of policy of the government at that time. However, as time passes, as the economy has been growing, the role of SMEs becoming stronger and stronger and more important, as I introduced at the beginning. So in the recent period, the perception has been drastically changed. So now the government and the general public perceive SMEs are almost equal partners to larger firms and very important players in the economy. Also, many SMEs are strong, and some of them have been very successful in the global market. So that the perception and policies also have been changed, however, very slowly.
Mm-hmm. In your case study, I learned that the most important Korean organization supporting SMEs is the Small and Medium Business Administration, SMBA. Could you please briefly describe the profile of this organization?
This organization has the responsibility of taking care of all major policies for SMEs now, and its agency still a part of the Ministry of Industry. Now it's called the Ministry of Knowledge Economy, and it's quasi independent agency from the mother ministry, I would say. So it can enjoy substantial degree of freedom in terms of policy formulation and implementation. So you can regard this agency is the center or the core organization in the government to deal with all SME policies.
And Korea has also support programs targeting high growth SMEs. That's my understanding. One of these programs is called INNO-Biz. What are the main characteristics of this program?
Because of the growing importance of innovation, the government introduced this, I would say, fascinating system. And this system called innovative SME or innovative enterprises, in fact, consist of or take care of three kinds of innovative SMEs. The first group is, of course, it should be venture startups. Most of ventures are innovation-oriented enterprises. And the second type is called, with the proper name introduced, INNO-Biz, which stands for innovation-driven enterprises, in fact. So to be regarded as ventures or INNO-Biz, you must meet with government criteria. So once you are recognized by the government as ventures or INNO-Biz enterprises, you will get special supports, funds, so on, by the government. So you can get the access to these programs much easily than other SMEs. So that's special privileges and benefits to be this kind of enterprise. In addition to these two, the last category is called management innovation enterprises. So not only technological innovation capability, but also managerial innovation capability is also encouraged and considered. The support is similar to the first two categories. So this is essentially